What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Standing on Sports, episode 2 of season 3. Sean and I are back, and today we're talking about college football. We're going to go over our top 10 games of the season, like the games that we were most anticipating. We're also going to go over the coaches poll rankings that just dropped, I think, like 2 days ago. And then in the NFL side of things, we're going to go over a little fantasy football, top five quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, the players you should target overall. So let's hop right into it. Sean, I guess you would take it away. What's your number one team or number one game for college football this year?
Going, I see you put weeks beside yours. I didn't, but I know this one's week
Stuff.
one. So I
Okay.
think Texas at Ohio State. It's probably going to be like the marquee matchup.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I'll go and say too, I put it number two in my list. And I mean, I feel like, it's the first time I saw this yet today. Like, it's the first time ever that the number one team's going up against the number two team in week one. Um, Ohio State come off the championship. Texas, I think, is a lot of people's favorite to win the championship this year, just with all the returning talent. Arch Manning's first year. I don't know. It's gonna be a huge game. Just the fact that it's at noon is the one thing that's kind of like, really, bruh.
Big
So
noon kickoff.
big woohoo. Dave Portnoy now there. Little
Is
sus.
he actually?
Yeah, yeah,
That's that's unfortunate.
yeah. Indeed, indeed. But yeah. No, I agree. It's gonna be a great game. Um, I'm excited. I mean, that's August 30th. That's literally like 3 weeks away,
I
three
know.
Saturdays away. So who do you think would win that game right now? Texas or Ohio State?
Right now, I
It's in
probably
the shoe too.
probably lean Ohio State
Ohio State. Okay. Okay.
just because it's at home.
Honestly, I got the SEC bias, so I'm probably leaning towards Texas. I mean, Arch Manning he's played in some games. He has experience. Um, I think Texas would take the W, but we'll get more into that later in later episodes. But all right, I'll go with my number one. My number one's also in week one. LSU at Clemson. Honestly, I feel like this game is like, I hate Clemson. I'm honestly don't like LSU either. Um, but I think this game is like pivotal for both their seasons. I mean, both LSU and Clemson over the last few years have kind of been notorious for losing their week one matchups. LSU lost to Notre Dame, Florida State. Clemson's lost to Georgia the last 2 years. Um, Also, I feel like both these teams are on the rise. I think in the rankings, they're both in the top 10. And I think they're really trying to prove a point that, like, they're natty contenders. LSU just missed, no, yeah, LSU missed the playoffs. Clemson was undeservingly in it, if you ask me. And I feel like they're both like, we can win a natty this year. And this will be a pivotal game to seeing, like, all right, like, is Garrett Nussmeier like really at legit? Garrett Nussmeier and Kay Klubnik both legit? Because I'm not gonna lie, I think they're both good, but I do think they're like both overrated somewhat. Like the amount of hype that both of them are getting is like kind of insane. Like Kay Klubnik hasn't beaten an SEC team yet, and I know people are like, "Oh, he played well against Texas," and I will say he did. But like, can you do it in week one? Can you come back your senior year, put it all together? LSU, Garrett Nussmeier. Honestly, I just don't really like the guy. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know. Honestly, I still don't even know who I'm going to pick yet for that game. But I think it's going to be a good one. I'm excited to watch it. I'm excited to see who loses. Um, yeah, it's going to be good.
Yeah, I put that game where I put it. I put it at number five. I think it's very important that
Mm,
LSU wins. Um, Given their schedule, they have a lot of tough games this year, so I think they need to win this, or else they'll probably be on the outside looking in, unless they pull
yeah.
off like some close wins. I think Clemson, right? I think there's a possibility. I didn't put them in my top like this game in my top 10, but Clemson plays at Georgia Tech. And I think there's a real possibility, unless we get to that point of the year and Georgia Tech sucks, I think there's a real possibility that that could be an upset. Because I
Well,
think
that's the
Georgia
thing.
Tech will probably be like the second best team with all their returning players.
I was seeing the same thing. That was a game like I kind of had like honorable mentions, I guess you could say. Um, because Georgia, they actually play like week 3. Like it's like soon after
Oh
that game.
dang,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So no, I completely agree. Like in LSU, yeah, like they have a bunch of other top games. I think, yeah, I see in both of our lists here, like both you and I have them featured throughout the rest of our rankings of the games coming up. Um, and getting into it, I mean, talk about your next game, your number 2 for what you're most excited for, biggest game this year.
I think I think this is going to bring probably it's going to bring more hype than last year's game, but I think the implications are kind of probably be near the exact same. Clemson at South Carolina. I think it's two quarterbacks that will get drafted, most likely first round. Um, Two good teams, right? And I think again it's going to be can Clemson. Clemson obviously has the easier path to make the playoffs, but there's some chances to slip up because Georgia Tech's schedule is very like if they can beat Clemson, there's not a game that they're not favored in after. So like I think that's a real big like question mark. But if Clemson wins that, I think it comes down to like Clemson, South Carolina, outside looking in, kind of that bubble team again. Um, it's just kind of be, and it's the last game of the year, right? So by then, like everything matters more.
Yeah,
So
like
it will
you'll
be a good one.
know the teams are going to know what they need to do in order to have a chance at the playoff. Um, yeah, no, I agree. I have it as my number 5 game. Uh, honestly, I think I would be like I could move that higher. Like it's probably the game I'm most hyped for, but I didn't want to like just throw it everything out there. But yeah, I mean, like you said, like it's the rivalry, the Palmetto Bowl, the implications, and kind of what you said with Clemson as well, like important with the playoff. But the main thing too is like thinking about like the ACC championship. I mean, they're easily their 2 hardest games this whole season are against South Carolina and LSU, which are not even going to count towards their record for the ACC championship. Um, so that I mean that's going to have huge implications for that Georgia Tech game. That, now I know we keep bringing that game up, but like it's going to be a big game when it does come around. But yeah, no, Clemson and South Carolina. I think right now, like both Cade Klubnik and Lenore Sellers are like in the top 5 for like Heisman contenders, like as like early predictions. Like I think Clemson's going to be better next year. I think South Carolina has the chance to continue kind of like what we were doing from last year, and I hope end up better. So yeah, I think this game's gonna be huge. It always is. At least the last 2 years it has been, and it's gonna be in Columbia. So I'm so excited for this game. I'm so excited for this game. There's always so
Yeah.
much hate going around. There's it like it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. I'm excited,
Honestly, like I wish it wasn't a noon kickoff, right?
dude. I
Because
know
I would
they.
like to go to this game. One, I know it will be expensive. Two, I don't even know how tickets will work at this point. But like noon is like you literally have to travel like Friday, like get into town
Yeah.
Friday. I guess it's all right for you because you live literally in Columbia.
Well,
But
honestly, I don't know if I'm going, but yeah, no, I'd love to, but I don't know if I'll be able to.
and I will say like since this is probably the last time we're talking about Clemson, because like those are the two marquee games.
Yeah, yeah.
So they play Georgia Tech, which could be a sleeper. They also play at like I'm a North Carolina fan, yes, but they play at UNC, and it's I don't know, like you don't know what you're gonna get from Bill Belichick. So like,
Yeah.
I mean, it could go either like drastically good or drastically bad for like Clemson, right? Like I don't think there's like a. I envision Clemson's a lot better team than North Carolina, but there's a lot of variables that like are answered. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting.
No, I agree. I agree. I'm excited for UNC to this year, like, see how they're gonna be. I hope they beat Clemson, honestly. Like I would love to see that. I would love it. All right, now moving on. I guess I'll go to my game number 3 now. Game number 3 for me is Texas at Georgia, week 12. Last time they played was it in the playoff or was it just the college? football, or was it just the SEC championship?
It was a championship, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And we saw that game. I mean, Carson Beck went down. Garrett, what's his name, had to finish off the game.
Gunner Stockton.
Gunner Stockton.
What a guy.
What a guy. So, he's got to get his revenge. And and honestly, like I feel like Texas is really good. Georgia, I don't know. I think it's just gonna be a great game, if I'm being completely honest. It's later in the season as well. It's probably gonna have huge implications on the SEC championship. I think in the rankings, LSU, not LSU, yeah, it's Texas and Georgia are both the highest ranked SEC teams in the preseason rankings. So it's like that game's going to be huge for the seeding of everything. Who even is able to go to the SEC championship, and who knows? Like maybe these teams will meet each other again, no matter what, in the SEC championship. Um, Either way, it's going to be a huge game, and I'm excited to watch it. It's going to be good.
Yeah. I put that game at 6, not because it's not a good game. I don't think there's gonna be a lot of scoring. I think it'll be very defensive. I When I was making this list, right, I was looking at, okay, like all these top teams, all these marquee matchups. Most of these teams are bringing in new quarterbacks, but none of them that left were like good. Like when you look at the draft, none of them really are good, right? In a sense,
Yeah,
like they're everyone's rolling out new quarterbacks, but it's not because they're all like starters in the NFL now.
no, that's a good point. That's a good point. Like it's not like they're losing everything. Like it's not like South Carolina's losing Lenore Sellers or like yeah, that's a good point. Like I feel like the really good quarterbacks on really good teams. Like no one's talking about Miami, even though Cam Ward left. No one's talking about Colorado, even though Shador left. Like we're not really worried about those teams anyways. So no, that's a good point. That's a good point. Because yeah, both those teams are bringing in new quarterbacks that are replacing old ones. But those older quarterbacks, I mean, Carson Beck transferred out. Quinn Ewers went in the seventh round of the Dolphins. So it's like, did they actually lose that
Yeah,
much?
like
We'll
and then
see.
Will Howard left. Did he get drafted? Yeah, he got drafted late
Yeah,
round.
he's on the Steelers.
Like
Um,
it's like people left, but it was like you're not losing your number one pick, right? That'd be different if like Cam Ward was on Ohio State, right? And you're like,
yeah,
oh god,
yeah.
you know?
Oh shoot. That's why I'm excited to talk about your number three matchup. Um, I have it as my number nine matchup, but honestly, like I feel like the more I think about it, I think I should have moved it up more. But I guess I'll let you talk about it.
Yeah, so I put a little Big Ten. Probably, arguably, whoever wins this wins the championship, or like is going to be like number one in the Big
Hmm.
Ten. Penn State at Ohio State. It's always a good game every year that they play. Um, I think Penn State's one of the only like top teams bringing back a quarterback. Granted, it is not a great quarterback, um, but they are bringing back a team that's very experienced. Their running back duo is the best duo in the country.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so like I was honestly surprised they came back because I think both of them would have been drafted very early.
yeah. It's actually
But in
wild.
turn, like they're a team that I think will make the playoffs. Penn State, we talk about this a lot, right? Penn State's a team that's always going to make the playoffs, but they're never going to get over the hump because
Hmm.
they get good. Their defense is always great. Running backs are great, but when you're looking at like wide receiver quarterback, there's not a guy on there you're like, okay, he's the X factor. But
Yeah,
you're playing Ohio State, who's going to roll out a young quarterback. We'll see how the year goes. I imagine they'll both go into this game with one loss max. It's just going to be a good game.
yeah, yeah. No, I agree, and that you're right. Like it is always a good matchup, but Ohio State also owns Penn State. I mean, I think there's no really denying that. I think it's known around that like Penn State's biggest rival is Ohio State, but Ohio State's biggest rival is not Penn State. Um, so honestly, I feel like this is huge for Penn State. It's going to be huge for both teams. I mean, Ohio State, they lost their quarterback, they lost some guys in the draft. Penn State is like bringing everybody back. And I think this is going to be their first time in the season where it's going to be like, all right, like if there's any year that y'all are going to be great and actually finally get over the hump and win the big games, it's going to be this year. You brought back Drew Aller, you brought back both your running backs, you brought back a bunch of people on the defense, you got some good wide receivers in the portal. Like, are you good enough? Is James Franklin good enough to get them to where they'd like to be? And honestly, I don't know. I mean, we're going to see it going into this season. But like I said, I mean, Penn State always wins the games that they have to. They lose the big games. Every every team that was like on their level or a little bit better last year, they lost to. Every team that was below them, I mean, they lost to Oregon twice. They beat SMU in the playoff. Congrats. They beat Boise State in the playoff. Congrats. Like, can you actually beat a real team? And right now, we have yet to see that. But I think this game is going to be the one that shows us, like, is Penn State legit this year, or are they just going to be another team that takes a spot in the playoff?
Yeah. Yep, I
Um,
agree.
so, with that being said, I'm going to get into my number four game, Alabama at South Carolina. And I see this is actually the first game that's not on your list, so we didn't match on this one. But honestly, I'm just excited for this game. Um, I think Alabama coming to Columbia is going to be good. And honestly, like, this is probably the game on our schedule. I'm excited for Clemson. I'm excited for LSU, but I'm kind of nervous about Alabama because I feel like they're going to be better this year, and I feel like they like could beat us in our own place. Um, but I'm really excited to see Lenore's revenge, uh, Nick Harbor. That last time they played, that one handed catch. Like last year's game was just so like iconic, just so good that it was like, man, like what could have been if we won that game? And I cannot wait to continue on, and like, I can't wait to see the game, um, be at the game. My plan is to hopefully go to that game. That's also why it's number four on my list. But
Mm.
week nine, I think it's like October 25th or something like that, and it's going to be good. Alabama's got a new quarterback, they got a new offensive coordinator. We talked about a lot about that last episode, um, and I think this game's going to also have big implications for um, the SEC and the seeding going into the playoffs and the SEC championship. Because I got biased, but I have some high expectations for South Carolina this year.
Yeah. No, I think it's a good game. I think it will be a good game. I put like a couple other games that I think are just like I think there'll be more implication, more enjoyment. One more enjoyment, one more implications, and we'll get there. Like when we get there. But
Oh,
I do
well,
think it's a good game. Like I do think it's gonna be like last year's game, very close.
it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Now I guess we can jump to your number four game now.
Yeah, number four, I put South Carolina LSU. I think it's last year didn't end the way South Carolina wanted to. Um, some crazy calls, but I think this year both teams are drastically improved. I think it's hot take. I think this is South Carolina's like biggest opponent this year. I think I think LSU will be in the playoffs and they'll probably be pretty high up. And I think South Carolina needs to. I think South Carolina will beat Alabama, but I'm scared they'll lose to LSU. And then Clemson, pretty sure we can beat Clemson. But LSU, I think, is just the hardest. Their offense is a lot better than last year's, and last year's wasn't like it was bad, you know.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree. This game's scary. Um, and like especially with what happened last year with the questionable calls, and that was when it was at our place. Lenore's got injured that game. What could have been? Um, like this game's like feels like the real revenge game of like, all right, we're gonna go into your house. You got some lucky ass calls. Oh, my bad, but you got some lucky calls, and I'm ready. I'm hyped for this game. And the big thing about this game too is, I mean, last time we played it was like week three of last year, so it was like a while. Like we weren't South Carolina wasn't developed like they were later throughout the season. Same thing with LSU. This game's week 7 of this year, this season. I think it's like our first big test. Our first 5 games are kind of chalk, kind of easy.
We hope.
We have a bye week 6, but then we go to LSU, to Death Valley, probably a
That's
night
also
game.
scary, right? Like LSU,
Yeah,
I think is one of those like games that I want to go to, like regardless who they play, because I think like a night game at LSU is probably very exciting to be at.
yeah, probably scary, but yeah, I think this game, as a South Carolina fan, this is one of the ones that I'm most excited about, but also like most nervous about
Yeah,
because it's gonna be big. It's gonna be big. And like you said, I think LSU could win the SEC this year. I think they're a sleeper team. I think it goes Texas then Georgia and like the rankings for SEC. But honestly, I feel like LSU is going to be better than Georgia this year.
yeah. I don't even think that's a bad take. Honestly, I probably have the same take. I think it'll be interesting once we do our little college football playoffs, like
Hmm.
predictions, to
True,
see
true.
like where we're sitting at. But yeah, no, I'm high on LSU this year. Jumping to 5. Already talked about. I have LSU at Clemson, and you have Clemson at South Carolina at 5.
Yep. We
So
already talked about our number 6 teams as well. You said Texas at Georgia. I said South Carolina, LSU. But now you can go with your number 7 game.
yeah, my number 7 is just out of pure enjoyment of watching college football. Right, right, like Tennessee at Alabama. Every year it's something fun to watch. It's just a historic game. I don't think Tennessee I think Tennessee's offense will be bad. There's a lot of question marks in this game, to be honest. Like, I don't, couldn't tell you right now who I lean towards. Probably Alabama just because it's at home. But Tennessee's got a whole new quarterback as well. Everyone has a new quarterback. It's kind of crazy to think about. Um,
Yeah,
but
honestly,
I do think Nico was really bad at Tennessee, so it can only get better, right?
I don't
So
know. I feel like personally Tennessee's not going to be as good this year. I think I don't know, they kind of started falling off a little bit last year. And I felt like Nico was one of the bright spots, him and Dylan Sampson, and they lost both of them. Coming back from that, there hasn't been a lot of hype around them. I feel like this offseason. Um, I don't know. Like you said, it's like a historical kind of game. It's gonna be cool. Like it's always a big atmosphere. It's gonna be like sold out crowd and whatnot. But honestly, I feel like Alabama's gonna win this game pretty easily. I think Alabama's been pretty good this year. So yeah, should be good. Should be good though. My number 7 game, another SEC matchup. Most of my games are SEC matchups. I think every one of mine
shocker.
actually. Yeah, it's not much of a shocker. But LSU at Alabama is mine. Like I said, I mean Texas and Georgia are the top ranked SEC teams. I had that game higher on my list. But honestly, like it would not surprise me if LSU or Alabama win the SEC this year. And once again, this game's gonna have huge implications. These LSU Alabama games are always so good, so entertaining. I mean, I think back to 2019, Joe Burrow versus Tua, that game at Alabama. I think Donald Trump, when he was like, I guess he's still president, but in his presidential term, like he was at the game. Like it was just huge. It's always a huge game. Week 11, later in the season. Um, I'm definitely gonna be watching that one. LSU is going to be really good this year. Alabama is going to be really good this year. Also, the interesting thing is that at this point of the season, they would have both already would have played South Carolina. So, if South Carolina wins or loses one of those games, it's going to be interesting to see like, okay, like is it going to be a triangle effect where like one team beats one team, the other team beats the other, and it's just like they all beat each other, or what's going to happen. So, I'm really excited about this game. Um, mainly I look forward to like South Carolina games, um, but this is one of the ones throughout the year that I'm really hyped for. Sean, what are your thoughts? LSU at Alabama.
Yeah, I actually have it in my 8 spot.
Oh wait, yeah, I see that now.
Um, yeah, I think I think it's gonna be a good game. I'm really, like I said, high on LSU. Alabama, I'm not that high on. I
Really? Okay.
I I have some questions. I like their defense needs to be a lot better than last year. I don't really
That's fair.
care about their offense. Like I do think it will be in a better place. But if your defense isn't good, like the teams that are playing LSU and South Carolina, just to start, like you need a good defense to win those games. And last year their defense was in the 90s, which for Alabama is not great. So
Yeah.
if they start the year and their defense is good, then I think by the time they play South Carolina and then LSU, like they'll have a better chance. But right now, I would probably go South Carolina and LSU beating them. So
Hey, okay, I like that. I like that. That's one thing about Alabama too, like that you did mention. Like, I do think their offense is going to be a lot better this year, like significantly better. That's kind of like why I'm high on them. But that is a good point to bring up with the defense. Like, I don't know how much they did this offseason to see a drastic change in their defense. Um, but yeah, so that was your number eight game. So my number eight is Alabama at Georgia. And the main thing for this one is just like last year's game. That was probably game of the year, I'd say. It was up there, like the entertainment factor, that Ryan Williams like spin move catch. Um, Jalen Milroe's like last good game of college. Um,
yeah, wow,
overall, like
yeah,
it was a great game, and I think it's gonna be a great game this year because honestly, I feel like Georgia, honestly Georgia for me, and we'll talk about this in the rankings. Like I feel like they're such a tough team to judge this year. I mean, they lost a lot of
because
people.
they're all arrested.
That too. They lost a lot of people. They have. I mean, I know they have Kirby Smart, who's probably like the best coach right now in college football. Um, so I think they'll be fine. But it's just I'm interested. This is an early. It's in week five. I think this game once again is going to be pivotal for the rest of the season and going forward. I mean, like Alabama and Georgia play some tough, and LSU and South Carolina. We play some tough games. Um, I don't think there's a way that there's going to be an undefeated team coming out of the SEC this year.
I think the SEC is really anyone's for grab. I mean, that's the thing. Like I said with Alabama, with you need to have a good defense because the teams are playing, and like I didn't have this game in my like list, so I kind of forgot about it. But like they're also playing Georgia, right? You
Hmm.
you need to win games, and right now you're probably not going to be favored in probably any of these.
Yeah, because I mean, a good offense is going to take you so far. I mean, I know like Kalen DeBoer, they brought in Ryan Grubb, their offensive coordinator from Washington, when Penix and Washington went crazy. But that was also when Washington was playing in, was it the Pac-12 still back then? I think it
Yeah,
was. So it's like you were playing in a conference that had no defense anyways. But now you're playing the SEC. You're playing some of the best defenses week in, week out. Um, best offenses week in, week out. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. All right, Sean, your number nine game. This is an interesting one.
it's interesting, but it's probably like some of the most fun. I'm not saying pure talent wise, right? But I think Florida at Miami every year is kind of bring a lot of hype. They're
Okay.
rivals. They have a lot of history. They don't like each other. The only issue is at Miami, and I think Miami needs to leave Hard Rock Stadium, but that's a separate thing. Um, if it was at Florida, I'd probably have it higher. But I just like watching this game. Right? There's
Carson
every
Beck,
time you play your rivals, right? It's like you can throw the playbook out of the window because it's just gonna be this is straight dogfight.
dogfight. Dang,
Yeah.
that was crazy. Should be a good game. Carson Beck. There's that Florida Georgia rivalry, so he knows a thing or two about Florida. Um, so it should be a good game. I think Florida is probably like one of the most interesting teams this year. Um, I don't know if are they in the ranking. Yeah, they are in the rank. We'll get to them, but one of the most interesting teams this year, where it's like I don't know what to think of DJ Lagway. I don't know what to think of what they got going on. Like I feel like people are so high on DJ Lagway, but also feel like he hasn't proven himself fully yet. Like it's crazy to me that like I hear things like Lenore Sellers like, oh, he's not a proven passer, but then there's like DJ Lagway never lost a game that he played in the whole time, and I'm like, I'd rather have Lenore Sellers. I mean, he played more games, and I do think he's a better passer. But you don't hear those kind of things about DJ Lagway. Like just because you like didn't lose games doesn't. I mean, it's a team sport too. So I don't know. Should be a good game all around. I don't know what week it's in, but yeah, should be a good game. And I guess that could transition well into my last game, number 10, Texas at Florida. Once again, like this is week 6, so and I have Texas on here. I see now 3 times. They have some good games, some entertaining games this season. Um, I'm really not sold on Florida. I am sold on Texas. I think it's going to be a good game. I mean, seeing Texas go to the swamp is going to be cool. Um, but Florida is just, I don't know. I'm really not sold on them yet. I need to see something, and I think this is the game that I'll be able to tell. Like, all right, like, are they legit or are they not?
Yeah. No, I think there's a lot of teams with a lot of question marks. Um, Going to my number 10, I think I put this game down because I think it's the group of five like representative, like whoever wins this. Um, it's UNLV at Boise State. Not a game like I'm gonna watch, but I think the like implications of it matter a lot. I could see either one of these two teams going, um, but if not these two teams, maybe like James Madison. They have a really good quarterback,
Or Army?
and they that I was looking at like Army Navy. I feel like this is definitely a year that like Army could probably make it too, because there's on paper right now there's not really a group of five team that's very like above anyone. So
Yeah,
I feel like this could be Army's time, especially with like Tulane and Memphis having like whole new quarterback and receivers. Like those two are always like kind of give you a run for the money, but they're gonna have a down year most likely. So like they could be Army.
fair, fair. Honestly, I didn't even think much about like the group of five games. Appreciate the diversity of your picks. You really branched
I feel
out.
like I'm the person that makes this podcast like not an SEC like focused podcast.
See, I will say that, yet 8 out of 10 of yours are also SEC.
Hey, but look at the two that aren't.
Hey, I 9 out of 10 of mine.
All right.
But
Well,
anyways,
anyway.
well, I think it's a good way to pivot over. I'm gonna share my, excuse me, man. I'm gonna share my screen now. Where's my mouse? There it is. And I'm going to go over the rankings.
Yeah, I feel like
Here we go.
we can look at these, but I don't hold like a lot of my opening remarks about. I haven't even looked at the list yet, but I don't
Wow.
hold a lot of talking like the first poll, right? It's just gonna be
Yeah.
a bunch of teams from last year that were good, but that doesn't mean they're good this year. Like
I
just
mean,
off the
I will
bat,
say though,
you see like some of these teams. Like I don't think Ole Miss should be 15th when you have no idea who any of their players are,
yeah,
right?
I also
Indiana
feel,
shouldn't be there. They're just not good.
dude, Indiana, I can't stand Indiana. Illinois is up there. Not a fan of them either. Miami's in number 10. Like that's insane. They're gonna fall so quickly. Um, Arizona State, I think that's see, Arizona State's an interesting team where it's like they're probably gonna have a really good year because they're probably definitely the best in the Big 12, but they're not gonna play anybody this whole year. Um,
See, so I was looking at real quick. I wanted to put like a Big 12 game in here just for like diversity, but the only like one that I was thinking right now, the three teams that are probably getting hype are Arizona State, Kansas State, and then like Baylor. Iowa State's rolling out a completely new offense, so I don't really hold a lot of weight with them. But like those three teams, only Baylor plays Arizona State. Like there's not a
there's
lot of like
there's
overlap
also
between the
Texas
actual top
Tech.
teams.
I mean,
I don't
Texas
think they're
Tech.
good.
they just did really well in the transfer portal. But yeah, I mean it's not really telling. I feel like the week one, week two, week three rankings are gonna be more telling. And also this is just the coaches poll, but just wanted to give it a look. Because honestly, like I do feel like there are some things like going into the year, like based on how they finished last year, Clemson wouldn't be ranked this high, but they're going into it more. So uh, Texas number one. I find it interesting that Texas number one over Ohio State, but I guess they have their quarterback more figured out. Um, Georgia's the one team. I think they just have the pedigree now, and that's why they're ranked so high. Uh, but I'm really not a Gunner Stockton believer right now. I'm not gonna lie. I gotta see something.
I mean, you look at the top 10, and there's only one team on here that's bringing back their two teams bringing back their starting quarterback.
See, I'm surprised LSU's not higher. There's actually
I
three
take that back.
teams.
There's three teams. Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, realistically, in my head, I would have Penn State. I would have Ohio State one just because they won, right? You got to give them, like,
Hmm.
benefit of the doubt. And then Penn State at two. Then you could probably put Texas, but then I'd probably bump. Honestly, I put LSU up there. Like,
Yeah, I put LSU and Clemson up there.
yeah,
Um, but no, Alabama, Oregon. Honestly, I really don't hear much about Notre Dame.
Alabama
But
has no like. Alabama has no reason to be in the top 10 right now, or Miami. Like, what have they actually like done?
yeah, no, I have no idea. The two of them, I have no idea. Arizona State, I feel like is more deserving. Illinois, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like they beat us to end the year. Like, I love seeing us number 13. That's kind of crazy, seeing us that high to start the year. Michigan
Michigan, there's
also,
no
dude,
like. Why
Michigan
are
being
you?
up there is insane.
Yeah,
Like
you finished 7-6. Why are you like up there? That makes no sense.
Bryce Underwood hype. I mean, how it normally is. Like like the teams like Texas. Texas is good this year, but Texas, Miami, Michigan, and like Texas A&M are always going to get that heavy bias, no matter how good or bad they are. A&M, I don't know why they're in the top 25. They always do well in transferring, they always do well recruiting, but they have not been good. At least they have not been to their standard in the last several years. Um, Florida's another team where it's like, okay, you're in here, but like, why? I don't know. It's tough to see. You see Oklahoma, Missouri are on the cusp of getting in as well, which is interesting. So, but yeah, no, I just want to look over it, get our thoughts. I think things are going to change a lot after week one, after week two. So it's gonna be a good season though. So I'm gonna stop sharing this and let's get into the NFL portion of the episode. And that's going over fantasy, fantasy quarterbacks, fantasy running backs, wide receivers, tight end, our top five of each. I'll start off by just saying, like, with the quarterbacks, I feel like of all the positions that we're going to talk about, I feel like the top five for fantasy quarterbacks is kind of the top five are kind of just known. There's not really
Yeah,
much
it's
debate
it's
about
kind of
it.
chalk.
It's mainly more of like, it's the order that you put it in a way. So I think Lamar, I mean, he's been QB1, I believe. Like it's been between him and Josh Allen the last 2 years for QB1 ever, like the last 2 3 years. Um, I put Lamar number one because I just feel like his rushing upside is higher than Josh's. I see you put Lamar number one as well, but for me, like him and Josh Allen are kind of interchangeable. You know, you could argue like Josh Allen's receivers, whatever, but I mean, Josh Allen obviously hasn't had that good of a wide receiver in the last few years, so it's like I think they're kind of interchangeable. Um, so that's kind of my thoughts. But I see you have a different person at your number two.
Yeah, real quick, Lamar has gotten me for the last 2 years. He's been by my side through fantasy, and I'm gonna try my absolute darndest to bring him back on my squad
Oh,
this year.
is that right?
And
All
if that
right.
means I gotta be the first one to take a quarterback, so be it. I'm gonna make it
Hey,
happen. But I do
respect.
feel like I got some. If quarterbacks start going and I'm not ready to draft one, I got some that I'm keeping under on the low. And it's not Drake May, but
I know who
I
it
do
is.
have some on low. But yeah, no, my number two I think is same style as Lamar Jackson. I think he's got a good group around him. I will say I'm a little bit worried now. I have Jaden Daniels at 2, and I made this before before Terry McLaurin requested a trade because can the Commanders slash Redskins slash whatever you want to call them, can they ever have like a good thing? I feel like they have one good year and then all of a sudden like things just start going wrong. But I do think he's got more. I think he's got more opportunity to run in the, what do they call it? Like in the middle of the field, right? I do think
The hash
probably Josh
marks.
Allen was, or like what in the middle 40, whatever they call it. Anyway, I think goal line Josh Allen's probably better and Jalen Hurts, but I think there's more opportunity for Daniels to run like design runs. So that's why I would go with him.
Fair, fair. I mean, I don't hate having Jalen Daniels there. I made mine after the Terry McLaurin news. That's why on my list I have him at number 4, just because there's that question mark. I mean, last year, Jaden Daniels threw over 20 touchdowns. I believe he threw about like 23 or something, and 13 of those touchdowns were to Terry McLaurin. So more than half of his touchdowns thrown were to Terry McLaurin. So I think that would be a big loss because, Debo is a question mark. Their next best wide receiver is Luke McCaffrey, who's unproven. So it's just like, I don't know. I think his upside's there. I want him to be great. I want Terry McLaurin to stay. And I think it may just be like maybe he's just saying he wants to trade to like get more money out of his deal or whatnot, get a deal done. Um, but yeah, I just think he's the most of like the top 4 of those rushing quarterbacks. I think he's just the most questionable in a way of just I don't know where he's going to be at because Terry McLaurin. But I will say if Terry McLaurin's back, I'd probably put him number 2. I think he has the potential to be number 1 because I mean they got Laramie Tunsil. They've only gotten better, and therefore I only think that would make Jaden Daniels better. So yeah, he's my number 4, but my number 3 is Jalen Hurts, and that is because of a little thing called the tush push not getting banned.
I hate it. I hate it. I think it's like obviously if you can use it, do it. Like I'm not hating that they're doing it. I just hate the concept, you know.
That's fair. That's fair. Um, Jalen Hurts is a tough person to like rank. Like I feel like if the tush push gets banned, it's gonna like lower his value a significant bit and like raise Saquon's. But that's not what happened. But the Eagles just have so many guys, so many targets on their team, so many people that want to get the ball where it's like it's tough for Jalen Hurts. But I do think that he's going to be great. I do think he's going to be really good. So I think he's going to be better than Jaden Daniels just because like we've seen it year in and year out. He's been just fantastic um, with his fantasy. I mean, that's the one I got. It's the guy you want on your team. So I see you Jalen Hurts at 4. What are your thoughts on him?
I just I think like passing game wise, it's not a good unit, right? And then you have Saquon as your running back,
Wait, not a
but
good pat.
he's
Like, wait, not a good receiving unit,
not unit. The unit's good. I think he's not good at
dude.
like
The hate on
passing.
him is crazy.
I just don't like him. I'm allowed to not like people.
Why not? Why not? Literally, why? He's a good
I just don't.
dude.
I don't think he. Yeah, I don't. Well, he's probably great. Everyone's great, aren't they?
You say you about to
But
say he's unproven. He's already he's won a
no,
Super
I'm not
Bowl.
saying he's unproven.
He's
I
done
don't
more in
care
his
if he's won
life
a
so
Super
far
Bowl.
than you'll do.
His Super Bowl literally came with freaking a God squad around him. Like, congrats. But he's gonna score when they're down on the 2 yard line. Take away from their actual greatest player on that team, Saquon. Um,
Mhm.
he's gonna be there for fantasy. I just won't draft him. I don't care if he goes undrafted. That's fine.
That's crazy. The hate for Jalen Hurts is actually insane. I'm bringing that up fantasy weekend for sure. Um, all right. Oh, I see. Also, I already mentioned Josh Allen for me at my number 2. I see you have him at your number 3. Do you have any thoughts on Josh Allen and like why do you have him below Jaden and Lamar?
I just think my upside with Jay Daniels, like I said, is I think there's more design runs in his wheelhouse. Um, I just see a lot more versus. I see him playing more like Lamar, and I think Lamar is like number one in fantasy perspective. And I see Josh Allen and Hurts as like the same person. I think I still think Josh Allen's good. I just would have him below. You
Do
know,
you hate Josh Allen too, or is that just a Jalen Hurts thing?
that's just Jalen Hurts.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to confirm. Um, so I mean, that's our top four. I think the top four are kind of like you know who it is. It's kind of just the order. Number five, I think, is kind of undisputed for a lot of people, and that's Joe Burrow. Not a rushing quarterback, but just the fact of I think that he's one like insanely good, probably one of the best passers in the league. Has such great weapons around him, and his defense is horrible. So I just think all those things together, like, really just make him like a very um, likable quarterback in fantasy. Now I'm more of like a rushing quarterback type of guy, so I'd probably target one of the higher guys. But I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with Joe Burrow. The only thing that, and this of course, health comes into play with every quarterback, but I just think Joe Burrow notably has had more health issues than the other ones. So personally, I am not. He's not someone I'm going to draft. I know that.
Yeah, I'm at we think kind of similar. Like I'm a dual threat quarterback type of guy, especially for fantasy. So I'm at if Burrow's there, and I think if the if my top three, if Hurts is there, I don't care. If the top three are like gone and a couple of guys I have below gone, I'll probably go Burrow. But like if he's like I'd wait on drafting him in my opinion.
Okay. Who? So I'm only going to do this with quarterbacks, just because like the top five are just so like chalk. Like what? Who else? Who's a quarterback that's not in the top five that you think has the potential to end up in the top five?
I think just kind of a little bit out of like right field, but I'm going with Bo Nix. I like what he did last year, and I think you have 1 year under the belt. He bring back like a decent offense, right? A young offense, but he likes to. It's kind of like what Drake Mason, right? They may not be like the best players, but if it's players that your quarterback is comfortable with, he's gonna play well. Um, and in turn, like that defense for the Broncos are kind of get them in good position to where they should be able to score a lot.
Hmm.
I think and he's got running potential. Maybe not the best. Like I don't know how many design runs he'll have, but I do think he could sneak up. I mean I had him in Dynasty, and I think he was pretty decent.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think he's going to be a sleeper type of guy. I mean, second year in Sean Payton's offense. They just got Evan Ingram as well at tight end, so I think he's only going to be better. And there's this, I saw a stat too where after week four of last season, getting his feet wet in the NFL, after week four, the rest of the season, he was ranked QB5 in fantasy. Um, so, pretty impressive rookie year. I really don't see a reason for it to slow down. So no, I agree. I think he's a top. I think he could finish in the top five as well. That was my pick as well. I think him and Baker Mayfield have really high upsides at
Yeah,
quarterback, and
no,
there are guys that you can kind of get later, and you don't have to necessarily spend like a top 3 or 4 round pick on.
yeah. I
Now,
meant realistically, like if I had to pick up Baker, like Baker and his weapons, like this is the same boat as Joe Burrow. Like I think those two are like you said, like would be right on the cusp, but they're like polar opposite quarterbacks. You know, like
mhm.
so. I mean, it's really the route you want to go.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Um, Now going into running backs. We also have some. Oh, our lists are actually a little different here. Um, Number one, though, we do have the same, and that is Bijan Robinson. I'm just start by saying, he's a Falcon, so kind of the enemy of the Panthers, but he's been working out with Christian McCaffrey, and I think that's only gonna like do you like that's only gonna make you better. I mean, you're playing with like the GOAT of running backs. CMC is probably going to go down as the greatest running back of all time. Um, so yeah, I think Bijan's gonna be really good entering year three. I think Michael Penix is going to be his best quarterback that he's played under. Um, they have competent offense. Drake London, Kyle Pitts, who knows with him. But Penix, I think, is just gonna like be able to really um, bring say Bijan's game more to life. And honestly, I'm excited. I mean, he's a fun player to watch. I mean, his first touchdown I was watching because he was playing against the Panthers, and like I remember he like caught the ball at the backfield and then just like juked one of our guys on the ground. Like he's so good. Like he's able to cut so well and so naturally that um, I don't know. I think he's entering his prime, and I think it's going to be a big year for him, and that's why he's going like I think he's like literally like going like either like the one or two in drafts. Um, like I know I have the number 7 pick in our draft. I know he's not going to fall, but if he did, I would 100% take him.
Yeah, I know. Isn't Grant Ward in front of me? I think
Grant Ward, I think, is number 1, so he
he's
might
kind of
draft
got
him number 1.
Bijan. Yeah, and then I think Grant Regan's like right after him.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, I think I have Bijan at 1 too. I think when you're looking for an RB one, especially that early on the board, you want someone with like playmaking ability. Penix is definitely probably going to be his best quarterback. It should have been Cousins. I don't know what happened. Um,
but you think?
but well, I don't think Cousins should have had a terrible year like he did. I don't know,
Yeah, yeah. I feel
I
bad
don't know
for
what.
I feel bad for Kirk, but yeah,
Bijan can run it. He can catch it down the field. He can catch it out the backfield. He's gonna get touchdowns. They play a weaker NFC South, so like he's gonna have a ton of opportunity. You cannot tell me that there's any defense in the NFC South
yeah. No,
that
I can't.
anyone would worry
I
about.
can't. I can't argue with that right now. But come around like September time, yeah, we'll see. Um,
Mm.
yeah, no, he's. I mean, he's a great player. He's gonna be. It's gonna be good. I think the other thing too, like, and I'll just say this before we get into the rest of the list. Like, I feel like to have to be in the top to be in the top list for me, a criteria was like you're also like receiving ability. Because I mean, when it comes to like PPR, like a receiving running back is like, I mean, you're going to be sky high above everybody, above tons of players. So that's kind of what goes into mine. Going into my number two, another receiving back is Jameer Gibbs. I think his ceiling is just so high. He ended off in the top 5 last year of fantasy. And that's with David Montgomery. I know Ben Johnson was in that system, but I'm thinking about it more, and honestly, I feel like Ben Johnson's offense is kind of like that 1-2 punch, the Sonic and Knuckles thing. And so, will a new offensive coordinator try and replicate the same thing, or are they going to try and do their own thing? Because most offensive coordinators, they like just a notable RB1. Um, and I mean, Gibbs is definitely that guy. And I think if there's any, like, I think Bijan right now is at the safest pick. I think he has the highest floor. Um, but I think Gibbs may have the highest ceiling for running backs this year. I think he could like I think he has the potential to have like a historical type of year.
Yeah, no, I think he's good. I'm just worried about splitting carries, right? And if we're talking about like third down back, it's most likely going to be David Montgomery. Um, that's where I'm a little worried. I think if Gibbs does kind of become the running like RB1 in that system, um, I would lean towards him at 2, maybe even 1. Uh, but at 2, I have Saquon, and I think it's purely like you see the season he had last year. Like it's very hard to just go against that when you're getting plugged right back into near the same system. Um, I think the production will be a little bit less. I mean, it's probably gonna be right. Like you just have that good of a year, but the touchdowns will be there. The goal line will slightly be there. I'm just Bijan right now is the only running back like in those top 3 like picks that you're not worried about getting touches taken away.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Like there's not a backup that you have to worry about. But the one thing too, it's Saquon. Um, Bijan, there are other targets like Kyle Pitts, Darnell Mooney. Drake London, but the Eagles have like the probably the most weapons out of the only team that's comparable to me and them to the Eagles with weapons is the Bengals. Um, I mean um, Dallas Goedert, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. But like you don't even I don't even know who their backup running back is. I think it's that guy that played at Clemson 2 years ago or whatever. I can't even think of his name right now, but um, yeah, like, he's not actually competing. Though the one thing that I do think that Bijan or Saquon has going for him over like a Chase Brown and the Bengals is that the Eagles also have a really good defense. So they probably won't be playing from behind every week, week in, week out. The NFC East, the Cowboys and the Giants are not as good this year, I'm assuming. So I think they're going to have a lot of games where, Saquon's going to be able to run the ball a lot. I have him at number three. So I think he's still going to be really good. I just feel like his ceiling is not as high as a Bijan or a Gibbs, where their teams aren't necessarily as good. I think the Lions are really good, but with the new coordinators, I really don't know what to expect from the Lions. Um, so yeah, I still think Saquon's gonna have a great year though. So we have the same top three, just a different order. My number four team though, my number four player, I see you don't even have on your list. The disrespect is
I don't
crazy,
think he's top five this year.
dude. That's crazy. Christian McCaffrey. I mean, look, I know he had like the 10 eyes thing last year. That's in the past. I mean, 2 years ago he won Offensive Player of the Year, and like he's only going to be better this year. I mean, I think. I mean, let's think. There's Brandon Ayuk's going to be out for the beginning of the year. There's no Debo. Ricky Pearsall's basically a rookie. Jawan Jennings, he signed a deal, but like, has he really proven himself? I don't know. There's Kittle. So it's like, I feel like CMC is the best player on that offense. I don't think that's changed. He's still, I think he's 29, so he's kind of probably, this is probably his last prime year, I'd say, unless he pulls off a Derrick Henry type run. But I believe in CMC. I do have a little bias because, once a Panther, always a Panther. But I think he's gonna have a great year. I don't know if I'd be willing. He's a guy that like if he falls to me, like I could definitely see myself drafting. Honestly, if any,
What?
what do you mean? What?
I'm not surprised you would draft him, right?
Oh, I thought that was surprised, like the way you said that. But yeah, you don't think CMC is up there though? You don't think CMC's in your top five?
Not in my top five, no.
Would he be like around the outside, or like you just kind of like avoiding CMC? Where you're
I wouldn't draft him, but I do think he's probably outside the top five, like a six or seven.
okay, okay, fair, fair. Um,
But I don't like running backs coming off of like whatever he had. Like I don't like the more longer injuries than running backs.
Fair, fair. What about your number four then? Because then didn't he get an injury?
Well, he's also just a really little guy, but he's a good little guy.
Okay.
Devon Achan, right? I think the Dolphins need a spark in offense, and I think you get it from Achan and Waddle. Um,
No
Hearing
Tyreek.
some things, looking at some things, maybe the Dolphins' offense is a little bit better. I still don't think they'll be good, but I think they'll be playing behind in a sense of like Achan will be involved in that offense. He is a receiving running back. He can run the ball. He's not the biggest. That's where injuries can happen, right? But I do think I think it's a big risk, but you can get like a big reward.
I agree with that. I don't know if he's a player. Like he's my number five. So I don't know if he's a player. If I honestly, I don't think I'm targeting him. I don't think I'm going to draft him. If he somehow falls to me in like a later round, maybe. But because I do think it's like a high risk, high reward where he could end up being the top RB. Um, but I am just a little nervous. I mean, last year the Dolphins' offense was not very good, and they had like probably like three of the most explosive players in like Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Achan. And I think that's a lot to do with uh, Mike McDaniels. I feel like they were kind of after Tua's horrible injury again. I feel like they were kind of playing scared and they weren't, doing what they were good at, throwing the ball downfield, which was then, leaving a lot of room open for the run. Um, so I'm just nervous, like, are they going to get back to that? Or are they still going to play scared? I've seen too, like in training camp and whatnot, that Achan's also been looking more as a receiving back. That's like something that they're trying to work on. I know he's already been one, but I think it's like they're more prideful in it this offseason, it sounds. So I'm interested to see that as well. Like if he falls to me, like round three or something, maybe I'll take him. Um, but he's not a guy that I'm going to reach on to get. That's not my plan. So I don't like. I don't hate the pick that you. I mean, I have him at five. So yeah, that's my top five. Now we just have your number five pick.
Yeah, my number five rounding out, I got Derrick Henry. I think he's just like a stable running back, right? Until
He's
he
not. He's
retires,
not a little
like
guy.
he's not. He's polar opposite of a little guy. Um, but I think until he like retires or like an injury he can't recover from, I think he's just kind of consistently be in that top seven range. I
Hmm.
don't know. I was looking at also on the see my thing. I don't want to give my whole like mindset going into like our fantasy draft. Um, but we're pretty distant apart that I'm not that worried. Um, two spots. Um, running back wise, I like the top three are very enticing, and then I can wait.
No,
Like there's not a running back within probably the like I have H-hand at four, but I probably wouldn't draft him. Like there's from four to like probably like looking at this the rankings probably like 4 to 9, 4 to 10. I'm not interested.
no. I actually feel the same way because it's. I just feel like the running backs. I mean, we could have done it like in tiers where it's like Bijan, Gibbs, and Saquon are probably in tier one, and then after that, there's a bit of a fall off.
Yeah.
I think the same thing can be seen with the other categories as well. But yeah, no, I mean Derrick Henry's probably going to go down as like a top five running back all time. That man doesn't seem to be losing any head of steam. So I like the pick. I like the pick. Now let's go into wide receivers. We both had the same number one. I don't think we have to talk about it too much.
No.
Jamar Chase. I mean, he's going to be on the best offense, one of the best quarterbacks, one of the worst defenses. I think just all of that together. He won the Triple Crown last year. I really don't see any reason, honestly, for him, like, not to do the same thing this year.
Yeah, I don't really see a way it doesn't happen. I mean, their defense hasn't really improved that much. So, like, you're going to be in the same boat. There's, yeah, I mean, he's going to be one, and like, regardless.
Yeah, he's not making it to us in the draft. He's 101.
I wish. That would be
10
great.
101 or 102. I have him in Dynasty, though, so that's hype. Uh,
That's nice.
yeah. Now, my number two player, though, I'll start it off. Jay Jettas, Justin Jefferson. Um, we've seen it. I mean, with Kirk Cousins, Sam Darnold last year, JJ McCarthy this year. This man can't be. It doesn't matter who his quarterback is. He's going to be a top five
Oh, it
wide receiver.
matters.
He's the best. He's the best wide receiver in the league. Um, yeah, he can play with anybody. I mean, Kevin O'Connell's system seems to work for any quarterback. I know Sean would agree. So I think this year, like, you can't go wrong with Justin Jefferson. Also, Jordan Addison is suspended for the first three games this year. I think if anything, it's just gonna, you know, he's just gonna feed. I mean, if it's your first real game in the NFL, you're just gonna feed your best player. Um, so yeah, I think Justin Jefferson is a good number two, a guy I'd love to have, but definitely won't make it to me. I see you have him on your list as well.
Yeah, I'll save him for when he comes up to that spot. I
Oh,
got a
dang,
lot to
okay.
say.
All right.
Yeah.
Well then we can just.
My number two is Dak Prescott's right hand man. CD Lamb. They didn't improve their offense at all. It probably got worse. And in turn, CD Lamb's gonna have to be the guy, right?
You think it got worse?
Name your starting running back.
Javante Williams.
That's not great.
I mean, I feel like it's
That's
not.
not great.
I think it's not great, but it's not necessarily a downgrade.
I think CD Lamb will have his targets. He will have his touchdowns. I'm afraid that George Pickens will probably end up getting suspended. I mean,
That's crazy.
that's just the way he acts. And you mix George Pickens and Jerry Jones, and you make like probably a civil war, right? I imagine that's how that is. I don't know why they traded for him. He does not fit that team at all. But that's a different topic. But regardless, CD Lamb, number two, he's going to get his targets, he's going to get his catches. He's just a good player.
Fair, fair. No, I agree. I have him at number three. I think he's a great player. I think George Pickens is good for his game. I think he's going to. Last year, I mean, who was their wide receiver two last year? Brandon Cooks, like an old Brandon
Yeah,
Cooks. So it's like
Cooks or like Tolbert.
exactly. So I feel like defenses all year last year, they knew the only guy they had to worry about was CeeDee Lamb, and CeeDee Lamb still gave them problems. He was still a top 10 wide receiver in fantasy last year, and I don't see it. I think George Pickens, if anything, is just going to open the field up more for him. Also, Dak Prescott's back. The thing about Dak is he misses every other year with a horrible injury, and those years in between that he's there, he has like an insane monster
He
year.
becomes a
So
god.
yeah,
Yeah.
so he's this is his year technically if history repeats itself. I also have Dak in Dynasty, so I'm really hoping that he clutches up for me. Um, yeah, so I think CD's going to be great. Um, your number three is the same as my number four. Uh, yeah, I'll let you talk about it.
Yeah, at number three, I have Puka Nakua. Um, an absolute, he's just the guy in the Rams offense now. And it's crazy. He, from BYU, no one knew who he was. And then all of a sudden, this became, showed out 1 week. Everyone joined the hype. And he's delivered ever since. They're in a Matt Stafford led offense, so the targets will be there. He's splitting sides with Devontae Adams, which I think will help him, right? Um, what also helps is that Kyron Williams is not a receiving back, so you're not going to see targets taken away. Like he may get one or two a game, like Williams. So
Yeah.
I think, and they don't really utilize their tight ends that well. They're not great. Like Higby isn't great. So I
hmm
think it's literally just Puka and Adams, but Adams is older, so like I think Puka will probably get 8+ targets a game.
I think I agree because I think the thing is too is I mean like Puka was still producing last year and the year before with Cooper Cup and Cooper Cup's later years. Um, so I think Puka is just going to show out. Like you said, the Rams have like one of the lowest percentage of like passing to the running back in the league. I think the Rams and the Bengals are like the two lowest teams. Um, and that's gonna help Puka. I think Devontae's gonna have a good year too, but Puka's Matthew Stafford's guy. He's younger, therefore is more like he's more agile. I think he's having a great year. If he's the guy realistically in fantasy of the guys that we've talked about that is probably actually gonna fall to me. I think all the other guys ahead of him
Yeah, I think
are.
you'll have. I think Puka will be there.
I think Puka, honestly, I think the top three running backs and I think the top three wide receivers are going to be gone, and I think Puka or CMC are going to fall to me. And honestly, I'd be happy with either one. I don't know
If
who I'd go
you
with you.
if you draft CMC over Puka, man,
Dude,
that's just
I got biased, bro. But
I
anyways,
know, but that would be tough.
fair, fair. But there's actually another guy that I've been debating. I know this would make Matt mad because he picks right after me. There's a guy I've been thinking about taking a little ahead of his like ADP, and that's my number five wide receiver. That's Malik Neighbors. I think Malik Neighbors is bound to have. Honestly think he could be wide receiver one this year. I think he's the only wide receiver.
That's just not okay.
I think his
That's
ceiling.
not okay.
I think his ceiling is the only one that can surpass Jamar Chase. I legitimately mean that because
That's just not
who?
okay.
Okay, okay. Last year he led the NFL in target share. the amount of targets he was getting compared to everybody that's on his team. What
Dude,
additions did they make on their offense this year? Literally zero.
nobody.
Literally nobody except for quarterback. Like he did that with Brian Hoyer, Tommy DeVito, Daniel Jones, like literally like a horrible quarterback room. Like I'm not saying Russ is great, but Russ is definitely better than all those guys. Jameis Winston's his number two now. They just announced the depth chart. It's Russ, Jameis, then Jackson Dart. Dude, if Jameis Winston gets out there, you know he's only gonna sling it to
Dude,
Malik Neighbors. So
the days neighbors, or like the days that Winston gets announced as the QB, everyone's flooding like the overs on neighbors.
oh,
Like
100%, 100%.
that'll be a great day for whoever has them. But my
Exact.
issue, right, is just like the quarterback play. Like I do think Russ is still
Malik
good,
Neighbors was top five last. Was a top five fantasy.
and I
And he
get
missed two
that, but
games.
I'm just I'm not sold on it, right? Not sold. Now, if
Sold
for
on
some
Neighbors
reason
or the
he was
quarterback.
quarterback, I meant Neighbors is good. If he's somehow there on the way back, I'll pick him up, but he won't be.
He probably won't be there on my way back.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think he's good, but I probably put him at the sixth spot in my opinion.
Oh, so you okay? So now, or actually, you said about your four and your five. Kind of jumped the
Yeah,
gun
my
there a
my
little bit.
four. Yeah, you were a little antsy to talk about Neighbors, but my number four I think is kind of a sleeper to finish top five, and I think he will finish top five if he's healthy. Nico Collins, right? Before he got injured, he was a touchdown machine. He was 100 yards a game. This year, as long as he's healthy, he will be wide receiver one by a mile because Tank Dell's out. You're bringing in two guys from Iowa State who I think are good, but I don't think they're good enough yet to take away like Nico Collins' talent, right? Like
Yeah,
if they're throwing the ball, he's gonna be option one regardless.
that's what makes me anxious about Nico Collins a little bit though this year is that there isn't anybody else notable. Last year he had Stephon and Tank Dell for like both for the first half of the season, and he popped off. Um, but like now that like he's the main guy, like defenses know they only have to cover him. Also, Joe Mixon's probably going to be out for maybe the first few weeks with his injury, so it's like I think not having the running game is going to hurt things as well. I still think CJ Stroud's a great quarterback, but I feel like from his rookie year he did have like a bit of a sophomore slump, and I hope he comes back. He seems like a good guy, so um, I don't know. I like the Nico Collins. Nico Collins honestly is probably like my number six, I'd say. Um, he's right there. I think between like him and like Brian Thomas Jr., those are probably like my six, seven. Um, I just think he has a few more question marks than the guys that I put up there. But maybe let's get into your number five, kind of circling back to my number two.
Yeah, I haven't said him yet, and it hurts me because he's been there for me the last 2 years as well. Um, Justin Jefferson. He's got the worst quarterback in the league about to throw to him. Um,
It's
I
crazy.
I think I feel really bad for him. I
Dude, I
think he's
can't.
arguably. I think him and Chase are two of the best receivers in the league. Probably that we'll see in like a long time, right? And you're ruining this talent by putting handoff merchant JJ McCarthy at quarterback. I think it's a disservice to his ability. I think it's a laugh in the face to his talent. I think it's just overall this a pitiful thing to do to such a good guy, such a standout guy, right? I think it's just terrible, right? It's terrible. But he's
Yeah,
at number five because his raw talent is better than everyone in the league outside of maybe Chase. They're like 1, 2, could be interchangeable with good quarterback play, but he ain't gonna get it. He's gonna get some really bad quarterback play, and I just feel really bad for him. I'm not drafting him after everything he's done for me. I'm not drafting him.
dang. Uh, you hate, dude. I cannot wait for JJ McCarthy to actually be good this year. And like,
Yeah,
what do you
well,
like?
the funny thing
What are you
is,
gonna say if he is?
If he is, then I'll own up. I'll say I was wrong, but I'm not gonna be wrong. And now that I actually work a full time job and have money, I think I'm gonna get Sunday tickets. That way, I can watch the whole game and kind of. I'm gonna make edits of him, but how bad he is, not like the good edits. We're watching.
It's like literally evil, but okay.
Yeah, I'm hate
Okay.
watching.
Well, yeah, Dane, the love you have for Jefferson and the hate you have for JJ.
Yeah,
It's JJ throwing
that's
the JJ. I mean, sounds like a special connection to me.
no. Let's go to tight ends.
All right, let's do it. We literally had the same exact list, so uh, I think it's undisputed. I mean, I think the top two tight ends you can't really deny are Brock Bowers and Trey McBride. And we can talk about them together just because, I mean, the one thing, Brock Bowers was like tight end one last year. Or was he tight end two? I don't know. But he had an historical rookie tight end season. Um, I just think he will replicate that. But the thing that is iffy about him with me, honestly, there aren't any really truly good tight ends this year, in my opinion. Um, but he's has a whole new coaching staff, a new quarterback. Last year they didn't even have a run game, but now they have Ashton Gianti, who's probably going to get a ton of carries out of that backfield, take a lot of his touches. Where it's like, where's Brock Bowers going to line up? I still think he's going to end up top tight end because there's really not many people he's going to have to compete with, in my opinion. But but yeah, Sean, thoughts on Bowers, on Brock?
Yeah, I think we saw last year, right? Rookie, he's got the talent, and it's the room around him is only getting better. So I think it will just elevate his play. I do think I don't know, like you said, the running game's gonna be a lot better. That will be utilized a lot more. Maybe it takes away from his targets, but at the same time, I still think who's their wide receiver one? Do they have one?
Kobe Myers.
Okay, yeah, so he's gonna get all the targets he wants from Gino. Um, wow, that's actually insane. Yeah, I'm not worried. Hearing that, I'm not worried at all. He's gonna get everything he needs.
True. And now, like now you saying that too, like it makes me think like they'll, if Ashton Gianthi, is truly a great running back, like if it should only it should only make their offense better, in turn making them have more opportunities to pass, more opportunities to get touchdowns. So that could be good for Bowers. Um, Trey McBride. I mean, Trey McBride last year was top three. The year before that, he was also a top three tight end. Um, and Kyler Murray loves that man. So I think last year he led. I don't know if he led the league. I don't know for tight ends, but basically he had tons of catches and everything. But he had two touchdowns the whole year, or maybe was it one? I don't know, no touchdowns. And so that's probably not going to happen again. I imagine the Cardinals are such a weird team where it's I feel like Kyler Murray should be a lot better than he actually is. Um, and I feel like he always gets me hyped up at the beginning of the year just to after week four kind of fall off a little bit. And
Yeah, you're
but
telling me he was part of the reason I lost Dynasty.
oh yeah, last place, yeah, that's true.
No,
Yeah, I'm never drafting him.
he's on a trade block if anyone's interested.
I'm not.
Okay.
I am interested in Bo Nix though. But anyways, yeah, Trey McBride. You want to talk about George Kittle?
Yeah, I think in that offense that we aren't sure he's going to be wide receiver one or who even is going to be healthy. I think you can guarantee that George Kittle will be used a lot. He's already a receiving tight end, so he'll get used in the regular play, but his target share, at least for the first 6 to 8 games, will be a lot more than normal. So you can guarantee that he will perform early on. And I'm not worried about if everyone becomes healthy. He's always been useful in that offense. So uh, I would have him at the third spot. I would definitely draft him. Honestly, I think any of the top four I draft, if
Oh,
given.
so you draft T.J. Hawkinson, who has J.J. McCarthy thrown in the ball,
I think right. So I'm not gonna act like the Vikings don't have a good surrounding system.
like a good quarterback.
That just the quarterback plays is it's got if it's decent, he'll be good. especially with Addison out. I'm scared. I'm scared. And it takes a real man to admit it when they're scared.
Oh yeah, respect, respect. Yeah, yeah. I between Kittle, Hawkinson, I think Kittle, Bowers, and Trey McBride are the top, easily top three. Hawkinson, I will not be drafting, but I mean, he was great last year. I think they don't have any changes on their coaching staff, and he got a lot of touches last year. That was also like with him missing like the first half of the season. So I think he's going to be a great tight end. I think of all the other tight ends, he has the potential of making the top three. Um, besides the ones we talked about, because I just feel like also a rookie quarterback. The rookie quarterbacks like their tight end, so I could see him getting a lot of touches. And last but not least, Sam Laporta. An amazing. I was supposed to say freshman season, amazing rookie year. Um, Kind of a bit of a sophomore slump, but it wasn't necessarily on him though. It wasn't necessarily like his play. It was more of just like the lack of use on the offense. I think he's still a great player. I just think it's another thing like we talked about. Like I think Amon-Ra St. Brown would be in my top five wide receivers, but it's hard to see where the lines are going to be at offensively this year. And it's just I think that's kind of one reason why I'm kind of lower on him. I also have Laporta in Dynasty, and I hope that he gets a lot of touches in the future. We will see what happens. Um, I think he will. I hope he has a bounce back season.
Yeah, no, I hope he does better. I had him on the redraft, but I also had Hawkinson, so it like worked out. But I named my team after him, and he played like the team name. We were the Laporta Potties, and he played like
Like
Potty.
what? Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think he's definitely in an offense that he can do well in. So I'm not exactly worried. Now, if he has another year where he's slumping, it's probably done.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Well, overall, I mean, I think that was a great episode. Got to talk about fantasy. Got to talk about our top 10 games, look at the rankings. But, next week in store, we got Heisman Watch for college. Also looking at some players looking at a draft outlook. Not necessarily a mock draft, but players that we think will go highly in the draft next year to keep your eye on throughout the season. And going on the NFL side, we're going to talk about some sleepers for every position, people that we think are going to fall in the draft, but are going to outperform their ADP. So, yeah, that's what we got. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. Like always, keep standing on sports and tune in next time. Peace.